Winter 1965, the Audubon Ballroom in New York. Black Muslim leader Malcolm X is violently gunned down. Khalil Islam was one of the men convicted of that murder, but claims he wasn't even there that day. Khalil Islam is after the truth. Now he's come to Lie Detector, the forum uniquely suited to find the truth. Lie Detector, hosted by renowned criminal attorney F. Lee Baily, a man with 28 years of experience in lie detection. Counsel for the defense in some of America's most sensational jury trials. A man who goes anywhere for the truth. With him is Ed Gelb, noted polygraph expert and past president of the American Polygraph Association. And behind it all, the polygraph, perhaps science's most effective means of determining deception. Baily, Gelb, the polygraph, all working together on Lie Detector, the show that gets to the truth. Two decades ago, Malcolm X, charismatic leader of the black Muslims, was one of the more vocal advocates of civil rights.
Instead of legislation, in my opinion, it takes education. The whites have to be re-educated so that the racism that they have in their heart can be eliminated, and our people have to be re-educated so that we will know how to do something for ourselves.
But his teaching and leadership came to a sudden end on February 21st, 1965. While speaking to a group of his loyal followers in Upper Manhattan, he was brutally assassinated.
Today, almost 20 years later, the repercussions of that bloody event are still being felt. 3 men are serving life sentences for the murder of Malcolm X. Mujahid Halim swears he alone is responsible for the shooting. Khalil Islam and Mohammed Abdul Aziz, the other 2, claim they're innocent, and Halim emphatically confirms this. Khalil Islam, formerly known as Tom Johnson, is in New York's Dannemore Prison. Polygraph examiner Jim Matte, a full member of the American Polygraph Association, and our reporter David Gruen interviewed and tested him there.
Why don't you review some of the charges that have been brought against you?
Well, to start with, first-degree murder. Mm-hmm. That was the only charge, really, that I was accused of.
Mm-hmm. Now, you feel you stand wrongly accused for the shooting murder of Malcolm X.
Naturally.
On the evening of February 25th, 1965.
That's right.
Okay, where were you? What's your alibi?
You mean the time that he was...
At the time Malcolm X was murdered?
I was home. I was home with my wife. Matter of fact, at the time I was recovering from rheumatoid arthritis, and I had been laid up in the hospital for about 8 weeks.
Why do you feel that you were wrongly accused for the shooting murder of Malcolm X?
Well, at that time, I was the first Muslim to be accused of having a weapon or being in possession of a weapon. Mm-hmm. We didn't train in firearms or anything like that. Mm-hmm. And an incident took place prior to the assassination of Malcolm X with a very close friend of his, and I was implicated. And like I said...
Could you share with the audience what that was?
Yeah, there was a shooting in the Bronx.
Mm-hmm.
Very close associated to Malcolm X. Mm-hmm. And I was implicated. Mm-hmm. Through the process of me trying to help certain people, the rifle was in my possession. Mm-hmm. It was in my home.
You were trying to cover up at that time for someone else.
Right.
When the police eventually arrested you, 4 weeks had passed from the date February 25th, 1965. Eventually you were arrested and charged with the shooting murder of Malcolm X. What was your reaction when the police picked you up?
I was kind of shocked because when they told me who it was, mm-hmm. you know, I knew it was crazy. Mm-hmm. How were they going to charge me with something, man, that had nothing to do with it?
Why do you feel you were singled out?
Well, from what I understand, they picked up all the lieutenants at that time. You know, we used that paramilitary training thing. Mm-hmm. And I was the only lieutenant, like I said, it was implicated with a firearm. Mm-hmm. No one else prior to that time. So they felt as though I was a suspect. Not only that, Malcolm had another very close associate. His name was, I think it was Leon Ahmed.
You say lieutenant. You were a lieutenant?
I was a lieutenant, right.
A lieutenant in the Muslim church?
Right,
okay.
The mosque. Leon was the karate instructor. Mm-hmm. And Leon got on TV. Matter of fact, it was on the national TV. It was in all the newspapers and magazines. He called himself giving the press and the world and whoever a rundown on my life, what I was about and how much power I had, what I was capable of doing, et cetera, et cetera.
There was a rift between the head of your particular organization, the Muslim religion, and Malcolm X. I mean, why would you be thrown in the same kettle with Malcolm X then, by this individual?
Well, you see, like I said, I was very active at that time. And I was in charge of all the security for the New York area.
I see.
And wherever Malcolm went, I went. FBI was taking photographs of Malcolm. We was taking photographs of the FBI. So, you know, that put me right in the limelight. And I used to be on security for Muhammad Ali. So, naturally, I'm going to be exposed.
Sure,
That's the exposure. Otherwise, I don't think anybody even know I existed.
So that would, in your opinion, make it easy to equate you with Malcolm X.
Right.
All right, you find out Malcolm X has been murdered, shot dead. Why would, you know, again, we understand certain individuals pointing the finger at you. You feel also, or do you feel also, that the New York City Police Department was involved?
Yes,
wrongly accusing you of this murder?
I do feel they was involved.
Why?
Well, one reason why is because I have in my possession, my attorney also, Merberg. And
I'm sorry?
Merberg.
Yes.
And these papers are from the FBI files. The Freedom of Information Act gave me access to these. And they directed orders to Philadelphia, Jersey, and New York State Police Departments. And it read, in essence, do not give any information or make any moves regarding this case until you check with the Bureau first.
Why would it go all the way up to that level? To a federal body?
All right, now this goes all the way back to J. Edgar Hoover.
Please.
J. Edgar Hoover had a very high campaign going on at that time to smash and suppress and do away with all black organizations, revolutionary. Matter of fact, the title that was associated with Malcolm X and the Nation of Islam was said to put down the black messiah.
It's the white man that is teaching hatred today. It is his very deeds that sow the seed of hatred in the hearts of black people the world over. And the only one that can stop this is the white man himself. Anytime he gets ready to do justice, we won't have anything to point to.
So in your opinion, you believe that the motivation was to start a war?
That was the objective, the main objective. It didn't work.
We'll be back with the second part of Kahlil Islam's interview and his polygraph test right after this. Currently serving a life sentence for the murder of Malcolm X. He claims he's innocent.
All right, you come to trial.
Right.
You stand before the court, American court, judged by your peers. What was the trial like for you? What was it like for you emotionally?
Emotionally, I couldn't believe what was taking place. I don't know why I didn't jump up and break into a tantrum, throw chairs in there. I don't know. I really couldn't answer that. I was amazed that people could stand before me, people I don't even know, never saw before in my life, and point their finger at me and say, this man, I saw this man at the front of the ballroom with a shotgun in his hand. Positively identify me. I mean, you know, that was a...
Why would they do that? What would motivate them to do that?
Well, I'll put it this way. Nobody that knew me personally, even those who left with Malcolm, took the stand and said anything about me that was damaging.
But why would fellow Muslims issue false testimony to convict you?
See, it wasn't fellow Muslims.
Oh, I see.
You see?
Well, I want to make that clear.
Right, the state witness was just some individual off the street. You want to hear some of the dialogue?
Yeah, sure, please.
What is your name? Virgil Temple. Okay, you went to Chicago for a convention. Muslims have a national convention every year, February 26th. You went there, right? Yes. Was you working at the time? No. how did you get to Chicago? A man walked up to me and gave me the money and told me to go to Chicago for the convention. All right, was you supposed to pay this man back? Yes. What's his name? I don't know. Where does he live? I don't know. Well, how are you going to pay him back? I was going to go and meet him in the Palm Cafe on 125th Street. I couldn't discredit that testimony. He says, when you go to Chicago, isn't that a 2-day affair? Yes. What hotel did you sleep in? I didn't sleep in a hotel. What did you do? I walked all night. This was a star witness for the state. He said he saw me out of 15,000 people in Chicago.
This was the star witness for the state of New York.
Right.
And that was pretty much, in your opinion, the bulk of his testimony.
Right. He saw me and 15,000 people in Chicago in 1963. In 1965, he didn't have any involvement with me. I wasn't an usher. I didn't eat with him. I didn't sit next to him. He just saw me in a crowd of 15,000 people. And then he claims 2 years later, he comes in the Audubon Ballroom and he spots me in the back row. He specifically said the back row. He looked and he saw me and said, yeah, that's the guy.
All right. You were the head of security for New York City, for the Muslim organization. A rift took place between Malcolm X and the Muslim Church. What caused that rift, that disagreement?
Well, Malcolm's statement when he said that he was going to split from the Nation of Islam. He was going to have no further have any affiliation with the mosque. So he left. He left, and I would say a handful of Muslims left with him.
But what was said? What statements were made to cause such an aggravation between the Muslim Church and Malcolm X? I mean, the man was killed.
Right.
He was killed by Muslims. This is a fact.
Right.
What happened to make the evening of February 25th, 1965 take place?
Well, that's a chain of events. See, he made some very derogatory statements. Like what? Which, well, at that time, I felt they were derogatory. I didn't know they were true. At that time, he said that he had a lot of information about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that the public needed to know about. And if a lot of us knew about it, that we wouldn't have anything to do with him or his program, and that things were out of order. And it didn't really come to the surface until much later on, that he said that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had illegitimate children by the secretaries and so forth and so on. And I come to find out that that was true, and they was trying to do their best to suppress this kind of information from getting out. Malcolm's the one that brought it out.
And he was killed for this. He was killed for making these statements.
That's what I believe.
What do you respect in life?
What do I respect in life?
Now, what do you respect in life?
Well, my highest respect, naturally, my highest esteem is for God and for religion. Matter of fact, being incarcerated for exactly 18 years, a lot of people always ask me, you know, well, how come you don't look like you're under great strain or anything? You don't look like you're suffering, you know. I have my complete trust in God. I draw all my source and my power from the Holy Quran.
Would you fight for what you believe?
Naturally.
Would you kill for what you believe?
Well, I actually believe that the only time that I can see right now that I would become violent and do some serious harm if someone was to try to change my religious beliefs, try to take that away from me. I think that I would definitely fight for that.
At the time, in 1965, did you feel that Malcolm X in any way, shape, or form was trying to change your religious belief or bring harm to your organization?
Well, I thought he was bringing harm to the organization. And I found out later on I was wrong in my beliefs.
Did you kill Malcolm X?
No, absolutely not.
Were you involved in any way, shape, or form in the plot to kill Malcolm X or the actual assassination itself?
None whatsoever. None whatsoever.
There was an individual, Mujahid Alim, who was caught red-handed by the New York City Police Department at the Audubon Ballroom on the evening of February 25th, 1965. Some years after the trial and the subsequent conviction, he claims that there's no way that you could have possibly been involved in the shooting of Malcolm X. Why don't we talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, well, he's telling the truth. But from what I understand, the reason why it didn't take any effect is because they said that during the first part of the original trial, he lied. I guess he was trying to cover up for himself, you know. He told me later on that that's exactly what he was trying to do. I guess he felt he could ride along on our ticket because he knew we were totally innocent.
What was Halim lying about on the stand that discredited his future testimony?
He said he didn't have any involvement whatsoever, and that they asked him, was he a Muslim? And he said that he was not a Muslim. He had no affiliation with the Muslim religion. But it came out later on that he did. But I think the main issue here is that he said that he had no involvement in the case or the circumstance that caused Malcolm X's death. But when his fingerprints turned up on the smoke bomb and the .45 clip, there was no way. Plus, he was positively identified and apprehended on the scene. There was no way that he could deny that. They asked him, well, who did it? You say that Khalil's innocent and he didn't have anything to do with this? You say Muhammad Aziz is innocent? Yes, well, who did it? Give us the names. And he refused to give the names.
Have you ever taken a lie detector test before?
No.
Never?
Never. First time. I asked for it, but I wasn't fortunate enough to receive it.
Are you ready to take our test now?
Naturally. Immediately.
Let's go do it.
Not soon.
We'll be back with Kahlil Islam's polygraph test and the results right after this.
Islam claims he's innocent of the murder of Malcolm X.
The examination is about to begin. Regarding whether or not you fired a weapon at Malcolm X on 21 February 1965 at the Audubon Auditorium, do you intend to answer truthfully each question about that?
Yes.
Between the ages of 19 and 28, do you remember ever hurting anyone?
No.
On 21 February 1965, did you fire a weapon at Malcolm X?
No.
Regarding the shooting which caused the death of Malcolm X, were you one of the men that shot him?
No.
Is there something else you're afraid I will ask you a question about, even though I told you I would not?
No.
Are you hoping an error will be made on this test regarding the shooting of Malcolm X?
No.
Please remain quietly seated for 1 minute.
Kahlil Islam, currently serving a life sentence for the murder of Malcolm X. He claims he's innocent.
Jim, what are the results of the test?
Khalil's charts definitely show that he was being truthful when he stated that he did not fire a weapon at Malcolm X, nor was he one of the men that shot him. The charts are ideal charts. The numerical scores obtained from at least 2 of the charts that were conducted reveal a score twice as high as what we need to call this man truthful.
How does that make you feel?
Makes me feel wonderful. Matter of fact, it's what I expected.
I'm glad you're happy with the results.
Let me just show you your chart to explain to you a little bit about what it looks like and why that we've come to this conclusion. If you see this question number 46 right over here, and you see the question number 33,
Right.
Now under 46 there's a C. That's a control question. 33 is a relevant or crime question. And if you look over here, you'll see that on the control question, there is a significant blood pressure arousal. But there isn't any on the relevant question, is there?
No.
You can see that for yourself. It's very dramatic on the control. If you go up into the breathing, there is a staircase pattern. In other words, your breathing was inhibited right there in the control. But it was not inhibited on the relevant or crime questions, was it? And if you come over here to the next control versus next relevant, you see the same thing. There's a clear suppression in the breathing area right there under control, not in the relevant question.
So once again, Jim, this proves conclusively that this gentleman
is being truthful regarding the target issue, which is whether he shot Malcolm X or not, or whether he was one of the men.
Well, we sincerely hope that this program has generated some sympathy for your case across the United States of America, and we can only wish you luck now in your quest for an appeal.
Very good, and I want to express my profound gratitude and thanks. And I'm looking forward to getting some kind of results out of this.
Well, we wish...
that the fact is that I'm totally innocent and have no knowledge whatsoever.
Well, we wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
We sincerely do.
We'll be back with more of Lie Detector right after this.
Charities. Make it possible with a pledge.
The killing of black Muslim leader Malcolm X was certainly a controversial and emotional issue when it happened 18 years ago. And although the passage of time sometimes obscures memory and perception, as we have seen here, it does not affect our ability to get at the truth.